The first question has been asked by the Honorable S.J. Njikelana. Now I invite the Honorable the President.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Before I answer the question, I would just like to say a word on the importance of this day. 100 years ago, on this day, the most notorious Land Act of 1913, passed by the all-white Parliament of South Africa, came into operation. This act was a culmination of the most gross injustice against the indigenous people of our land. It is an injustice that is the root cause of the poverty and inequalities that deface our country even to this day. I trust that every party represented in this House will add their voice to the condemnation of this and unreservedly commit themselves to joining hands with us in undoing this crime against our people. Thank you for that allowance of the word. Honorable Speaker, to the question. In view of the 50th anniversary of the Organization of African Unity and African Union, we regard the African agenda as the cornerstone of our country's foreign policy. The focus of our African agenda has been particularly in 5 areas, namely peace and security, participating in continental regional organizations, contributing to the fight against the underdevelopment of our continent, promoting democracy throughout Africa, and defending the interests of Africa in global affairs. As part of the continent, we are enjoined to promote all that is good about our continent and use the natural and human resource strengths of Africa to build a better Africa, which is peaceful, democratic, united, and prosperous. At the World Economic Forum in Cape Town, we expressed the kind of Africa we aspire to be in the next 50 years. We are building an Africa that is united, integrated, and free from the scourge of poverty. An Africa that has conducive conditions for trade and investment. An Africa that will enable the creation of sustainable and decent jobs for our people, particularly the youth. An Africa that is industrialized and which is aligned with strategic, like-minded partners. An Africa that can be competitive in the global market. These aspirational intentions are clearly enshrined in Pan-Africanism and the African Renaissance. Chairperson of the AU Commission recently engaged with all sectors of our society across the continent in order to put together the vision of citizens of Africa of the type of continent we would like to see by the time the AU celebrates its 100th anniversary. This view of citizens from the ground is captured in the SADC, in the AU Vision 2063. The AU has created instruments to enable the achievement of these objectives, and South Africa participates fully in the work of these institutions. The creation of the Continental Peace and Security Architecture, the new Partnership for Africa's Development, and the African Peer Review Mechanism are just some of the mechanisms that take us forward in promoting the African agenda, especially to address Africa's security and economic challenges. On building on the prosperous Africa, South Africa advocates the integration of Africa's economies and increased intra-Africa trade as part of promoting an African free trade area. Taking advantage of the fact that some of the world's fastest growing countries are African countries, we also continue to play a role in promoting infrastructure development to unlock intra-Africa trade. Currently, South Africa chairs the AU NEPAD Presidential Infrastructure Championing Initiative, and also champions and supports the overarching AU's program for infrastructure development in Africa. Our task is to champion the North-South corridor from Cape to Cairo to achieve the dream of Kwame Nkrumah of infrastructure that connects the continent. Pan-Africanism and the African Renaissance also inform our engagement with the world. Thus, at the G20, BRICS, World Economic Forum, or bilateral relations, we continue to promote Africa and positions that will take its development forward. It is for this reason that the 5th BRICS Summit in Durban had an African retreat component to enable us as Africans to engage the BRICS countries on matters of importance to the continent. Most importantly, we need to promote Pan-Africanism as a way of life that informs our identity as Africans. This means we should look beyond economic development to our cultural and social identity and our frame of mind. Let us recall the lines of the African Union anthem. It says, Let us all unite and celebrate together the victories won for our liberation. Let us dedicate ourselves to rise together to defend our liberty and unity. O sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life. Let us all unite and sing together to uphold the bonds that frame our destiny. Let us dedicate ourselves to fight together for lasting peace and justice on earth. Let us all unite and toil together to give the best we have to Africa, the cradle of mankind and fount of culture, our pride and hope at break of dawn. I'm sure if we were all going to learn and sing the continental anthem, we'll do good for our continent, because it tells a story who we are, what we need to do together. I'm saying this because hardly many of us in the southern tip of Africa sing this song, the continental anthem of the AU. It says a lot, which says who we are, how we define ourselves, what is our task as citizens of the continent. When we sing the National Union Anthem, we needed to do so fully appreciating being part of an independent Africa and work harder to achieve economic independence for Africa as a whole. This means promoting African unity and cooperation amongst the African nations, for we have one future. Then we would have completed our freedom as the African people from Cape to Cairo, from Morocco to Madagascar. To achieve these goals, we fully support the African Union and play our part in building the Africa envisaged at the formation of the Organization of African Unity. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
I thank the Honourable the President.